As much as it's very interesting for you to say 40,000 followers, which part of those 40,000 followers eventually converts into sales? If you don't do that, then you're just an influencer.
Recording.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I never imagined I'll say words like this. If you're watching this, if this was recommended to you in your YouTube algorithm or a friend shared this video with you, it means you're an entrepreneur. It means the person that shared it with you or the algorithm believes that you need to see this. And why is that? For the next, I think this video is going to be hours. It's going to be more than an hour. We're going to see what time that will be eventually. We're going to talk about how you can create content, awesome content, consistently as an entrepreneur. Why is this important? In this age that we are, many people like to call it the attention economy. Attention on what? Attention on content. You need that to be able to bring eyeballs into your business. It's something I like calling likes to leads. You want to bring people to a point in which they can patronize you. And we've seen numerous times, I'm sure off the top of your head, you know people in your space that have transformed their lives and their business with content. So we are starting something we're calling Project Agon, which is a content lab, an in-person content lab in which we are bringing few entrepreneurs, in fact, maximum of 5 entrepreneurs together for 2 days. And we're literally going to go on how they can create content that moves the needle in their business. So this is not theory, this is not talk, this is action point. And we're doing a mock of sorts on how we can achieve that. And that's why we're seated here today. If you are watching this video in the future, and when I mean the future, this is after December, it means Agon has happened, and you can probably watch recap if we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that. Let's see how it is. In case you're wondering who I'm talking to Bolarinwa. For me to introduce Bolarinwa, I need to introduce myself. My name is Mofe. I help visionaries build brands, and I've been doing that for a minute now. For 7 years, not 1 minute, apparently. This has started from doing it as a freelancer to running a private branding agency called Craftos for the past 4 years, which is where, again, Bolarin comes in play. He leads the good people at Craftos, the people that make things happen as well. So why is he seated here? Seated here because we've decided that if this is going to be a strategy, don't cut to him when he's smiling like that. We realize that if this is going to be a public thing, we don't want anybody's strategy to be on the internet. So this is something that gives us creative freedom to go in depth and put everything out there. I've been putting out content, valuable resource, which you can access from here, mofeade.com/links or mofe_ade on Instagram, TikTok, and anywhere you consume content in form of newsletters, articles, templates. And in the past year, I started doing short form videos. And recently we just concluded 100, which was a campaign in which I shared videos on Instagram every day for 100 days straight. And it grew us from 3,000 followers at the beginning of the campaign to 40,000 on Instagram alone, which has expanded us into a 60,000 community online. So I believe that we know one or two things to talk about how to use content creation. And we're not just talking about followers here, we're talking about people that actually converted to leads, which became people that we've done business with. Because we pick select few people, our funnel is very, very narrow. So it helped us. So we had to be very particular about the kind of followers that even came in board, because as much as it's very sweet and interesting for you to say 40,000 followers, which part of those 40,000 followers eventually converts into sales? If you don't do that, then you're just an influencer. You need to be an entrepreneur thinking about how this translates into sales. So let's see how we can do that. So in the content lab, we're going to start with digital presence audit, which is an analysis of what's working right now in your content game and what's not. Then we'll move to your 2025 brand goals. So before we even go to the content goals, we're going to 2025 brand goals, and then we go into personalized content blueprint, which is an outline of content goals, target persona, value star, content medium, and chosen form. Then we're going to go into creative idea, direction plus idea generation. which is the ideas that will fill that blueprint, and a template for storing future ones. Then we're going to create calendar for 6 months. Because we're doing this in December, it's going to be for 2025 H1. Then content creation workflow. How can you create a structure for this content to ensure that everything is actually works? Then we're going to the nitty-gritties, the script structure, your hooks, story pillars, and how can you convert people from likes to leads. And then we'll actually create sample content, and we'll look at what happens after you create the content. How do you repurpose? How do you manage community? How do you leverage teams, tools, and automation? Even though we cannot do 2 days straight, we're going to try to shrink it into 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. So it's probably going to be one of our longest videos. I think there's a 1 hour plus video, so this is definitely going to be more than 1 hour plus as well. So are you pumped? Yes, let's go. Let's go. So Bolarinwa is pretending to be a founder of a company. Bolarinwa, or do you have a
pretend?
So yeah, we're assuming that you are the entrepreneur that we're trying to do all this for. Yeah. So you'll be switching in between roles and comments. You know the vibe, right? And yeah, so I'm going to work with you to create magic, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So, as they will say in this part of the world, which is Nigeria, may we know you?
Yeah, my name is Bolarin. I'm the CEO and founder of Tijo. Now, you might want to know what is Tijo. So, quick backstory. Both my parents have this panache for fashion, right, and like art in itself, design. And the way they push that out is basically through their fashion outlets, right? And this has been something that's been imbibed in me growing up. And I could remember one particular day when my dad took me to my granddad's place, and I could see him with the Ashoke, Agbada, Damax, and all of these things, and just it kind of put I could see him wearing it in front of a mirror, just styling himself, and I'm thinking, oh, this is it. My mom specifically was into fashion. She kind of sew for people and all of that, so I kind of pick up 1 or 2 things from there. And that's how the story of Teacher started coming up gradually.
At some point, I was trying to distinguish whether it was your personal story or Teacher's story. That was beautiful. I think you start creating content for us, right? I think it's okay. I think I'll just pack my bag and just... that was beautiful. I love it.
All right.
So we have Bolarin, and he has given us a backstory of what Tijo is. So from what we've garnered, there's a lot of story that we can build upon and all. So before we go into your specific brand details, let's start. I love that you have clarity about what you're trying to do. Spoiler alert, probably because you know so much about it.
Yeah.
And if you are able to tell your story like he just did, congrats, you're way better than most people, because that shows eventually, beyond everything that we do, people connect to stories the most, right? So when we are able to push this, when you're able to push your original narrative, people, for instance, as you recited the story, people that grew up in a fashion house, people that their parents were deep into heritage, they already form an instant connection with you after you've told your story, right? So it's very important as an entrepreneur to be able to tell your story. There are tons of resources about telling your story properly. You can check out Silem King as an Instagram creator, talks about how to use story to push your mission and all. So while he talks to creators in general, entrepreneurs can learn a lot from that. So Silem King, awesome creator, check him out. Mr. Bolarin of Tijo.
Yeah.
Beautiful name, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Where are you in your content journey? What have you done so far this year?
What have I done so far this year? In plain words, nothing, and that's why I'm here. I to be honest, I struggle with a lot of things, consistency. It's not even consistency, procrastination sometimes. I want to start, I have this idea, that idea, but overthinking sometimes it's just the what. I'm a Mofe, so I think I'm going to find
Yes, we're going to work on it together. Beautiful. So we have a blank slate, literally. So that helps us. So it means that you've not done anything.
No.
So does this mean you're just starting your brand as well if you've not done anything?
Yes.
Or
So
yeah, how does that work?
basically, in and out, I had like some, of course, family, private, all of that, but not on the scale. So what I'm looking out for is to put it out there, like get people to see this, target those audience that I really, really want to go. But aside that, it's just, oh, my friend is doing this kind of
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I love that. So it means that our current just content journey. So right here, we are at 0. So you're starting afresh, right? If you're not starting afresh, if you already had content that you're already creating for your brand, we'll first start off with an analysis of your brand. So for those that are watching that have already started creating content, how do you go about analyzing your content? While there are different steps, like we literally spend hours looking at everything. So from your videos, like the look and feel of your content, does it actually match the vision that you're trying to project with your brand? 2, the scripts, what you are saying inside your videos, the hooks, what you're saying inside your videos, does it actually work? The while gear is not that important, but at the same time, are you elevated more than every other person they're trying to do? How do people interact with your content? Which brings us to something that I would like us to just zoom in real quick. One of the most important things, why are you doing all this content? You are doing the content to be able to bring customers into your business. So one of the most important metrics that we need to track is engagement. And we get engagement rates by calculating. Engagement comes from your likes, your comments, your saves, and your shares. So by default, most social media apps like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, in the analytics, they have somewhere you can just go into and just check your engagement rates. So the higher the engagement rate, the better for you. So they calculate everything for you, right? But now here's the tricky thing: the more followers you get, or the bigger your account is, your engagement rate reduces, right? Which is very, very interesting. So if we do all these things that I want to do for Tijo right now and you're successful, your engagement rate will drop. Why do you think that happens?
Now, thinking about it, I feel one of the major reasons why that will happen is, I mean, for a brand that has a lower, when you're getting started, so I believe that your followers are more organic, right? And when I say organic, like you just started out with a couple of, let's say you have 500 followers, and maybe from people from your high school down to uni, down to any other community that you're part of, right? These are people that are there from the get-go. So when you put out content, it makes sense in terms of the ratio where they engage more because they know. Now, the bigger you are now, maybe you get this much followers because of a content that it's right, and then you gain a lot of followers, and over time, these people drops off because of the kind of content that initially got them there is not happening as much, and so that I feel like that kind of affects the.
That's beautiful. In fact, that is it. It's just like where you are right now in Tijo. You're just starting. You've mentioned earlier when you're telling us the story at the background of your brand was that right now you're dealing with family and friends, right? These are people that you know, which is similar in the content journey of an entrepreneur. When you first start, you get your first shares from your friends, your family. They're posting on their story and saying, "Come and patronize his business or our business," right? As new people come in, there's going to be disconnects, right? Like, and you, because you are sacrificing one for the other, so it will drop. So our goal is to ensure that it doesn't drop. It doesn't drop so low. So after engagement rate, the next thing is conversion rates. What is conversion rates? Conversion rates is the people that actually take action after consuming your content. So you have followers, then you have link in bios. One doesn't necessarily need to come before the other. If your link in bio is where you have your leads, where you have your landing page. That's where you want people to do it. So typically your conversion rates will be like single numbers, probably like 1% of everybody that viewed or visited your profile from your content that makes sense. So for you that you are putting out content, calculate your engagement rate, look at your conversion rate, and when we talk about that later in the video, we'll see how you will improve that. Yeah, good. So we'll go straight off into the next part, which is your brand goals, right? So in this, for the next year that we're stepping into, what is your vision for Tijo?
We want to sell to, like, the brand is not for everyone. So it's a premium brand. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier.
Yes, you mentioned that.
So
Yeah.
it's not for everyone, and it's for the top 1%
Okay.
Nigerians in diaspora, because it's not just, yeah. And the goal is to, of course, get conversions, get people to know about the brand, like those people that could actually afford this, right? Getting those conversion in, right? And be that.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you right
Okay.
there. You said 1% of people. Which people are you referring to? Which
Yes,
nationality?
Africans, but Nigerian diaspora specifically.
Okay. And this is financially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 1% of Nigerians in diaspora are classified according to purchasing power. Right? Purchasing power. So we'll come back to your audience, right? So for your brand goals now, you said that awareness is a major thing. So in the next, so let's paint a scenario, right? So most times as a businessman, you're looking at money, right? So in the next 12 months, what financial goal do you want for Tijo?
Yeah, you're very right with the money part, because the goal of any business is to make money. Like, why are we doing this? Now, the financial goal is to
In revenue, let's talk about revenue.
revenue.
Yeah?
Okay, in revenue,
Before you go into revenue, how much does an average, or let's say the entry line, all right? The entry line products of Tijo that I currently sell now, what does it retail at?
okay, so of course in dollars, right? For is it advisable to share the cost?
No, don't share the cost.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
let us know your revenue. We're not talking profit here,
Okay,
right? Just
cool.
your revenue. How much does one piece sell for?
Piece, because it's a premium product, right? And we actually, and this is to just mention this, like I said, still getting started out. So we are still working around the pricing, but the range in dollars is still between $800 to $1,000.
Good. So let's use $800.
Okay.
So one product is $800. How many? Let's assume you can share your statistics with us, right? So right now, in 2024, in this year, how long have you been in operation, by the way?
We started fully registered and all of that in 2023.
2023. And
Exactly.
you didn't do any content, you didn't do anything.
We didn't do any
because you had
content.
so much family and friends.
Yes.
I love that. God, when? So since when you started till this point, how many products have you sold? What's your revenue off the top of your head?
On top of my head, okay. So looking at it, because of the way we produce, so we kind of produce in collections, because there's this feel of rarity. Like we don't just produce in bulk. In revenue, I would say that per collection we do like maybe 20, and in the space of 2023 to now, we've actually have about 5 collection released.
100, so $8,000 minimum.
Minimum,
But it's been more than that, because that 800 is your cheapest piece.
Cheapest product, yeah.
So let's say we round off what you've made. Let's say 2024 alone, you've made how much?
2024 alone, we've actually dropped 2 collections.
2 collections, 20, that's 40 times 8 times 4, I'm bad at math, 32. So should we say, is that $3,200 or $32,000? 40 times 800. 4 times 8 is 32, so that's 200, that's 3,200. Okay, so you've made revenue 3,200 minimum. So let's round it up to 5K. So you made 5K in revenue so far, and we're in October. right? So in 10 months, no, we're in November now. Oh, okay. So there's no way you're going to make this again in December. Are you dropping anything in December? No? No. So you've made only 5K in 2024, right? So now in 2025, in the next 12 months, how much you want to make?
In a year, right, I want to move into like hundreds,
From
right,
5K to 100.
to 100K. Yeah, I know it's
Hundreds. You
ambitious.
said hundreds.
100. So
Okay.
yeah, so 100 being like the minimum being 100K, and we have like from there. I know it's a lot, but yeah, I just feel like
I'm very tempted to go into details with this, even though the scope of this is content, all right? Because this is beyond content. This is now your structure of your business, which you also do when business come on board. We help them do the strategy as well. You've mentioned that you have, which is something that we say a lot of entrepreneurs when they're setting goals and all. Whatever you want to do, you need to ensure that you've set up the systems and structures to be able to do that. So you've already mentioned that you have a problem with demand, with supply. So you do limited quantities. And you made $5,000 from 2 collections. So you dropped from 2023 to 2024, from 3 to 2 collections. So now, if you're going from 5K, Jeffrey, let's do some quick maths. 5K and he wants to go to 100K, that means he has to do times what?
20.
So you need to pull out times 20 of that. So it means in 20, so you have 2 options. One, you increase your collection, you increase the number of collections. So you're doing 20 times 20 of what you're doing right now. So that's 40 collections, right, in 2025. Is that correct?
Yeah, give or take, but that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is depending on each collection. You know, I said each collection can have like maybe 20 pieces on there. So we could increase the number of pieces in each collection.
Okay, beautiful. So you can increase collections or increase collection pieces. There's also a third way that you could also get this. What way would you think that would be?
The price.
Beautiful. So we could also increase the price. And which one do you think that we're going to go for based on everything we do at Crafters?
So from what I've learned from now, this is following the strategist. So I've learned so much that, you know, you could have less, you could target the top 1% that could actually pay the money. So increase your price, right? And less collections, because this is where the idea of premium and luxury comes from, in that sense, where it's not everywhere, right? Because if you're dropping 14 pieces, meaning that 40 other people might have this kind of stuff. So if you reduce it to 5, 10, right, across the world, yeah, I think the price can go up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So if we're doing that, we're going for increasing the price of each piece. By the way, for entrepreneurs that believe in quantity, we're not bashing you. Everybody's allowed to have their philosophy. It's just us. We've decided not to have that philosophy. We decide to just go small and increase the price of what we're doing. It's also fine if you want to go small price and have quantity, spread your risk. That's a major advantage that has, at least, right? That's our philosophy. So well, anyone works for you, but I will always advocate for you to go small, increase your price, right? So we're going to increase the price of each piece to get to this. So it means that if we're doing that at 100K, and so if we're going to do 5K, we said 5K probably add like 40 pieces. Before, if we're going to do in the old way, 100K would have meant times 20. That would be 800 pieces. Is that correct? Yeah. 800 pieces. So now in the new way, for this 100K, we can do, what if we do 100 pieces? 1K per piece. Is this maths correct? Is 800 times 40, 5,000? 800. Because you're selling for $800 per piece. So is this 40? Yeah. So now, very quick thing, when we say we increase our prices, when we want to increase our price, we don't want to increase our price by a little margin. Why? It's just unserious, right? So imagine you have a customer now, I say, oh, our prices have increased, and that's because, by the way, you don't need to explain to anybody why your prices have increased, but it's just common courtesy and all. You can slap any figure you want as long as the quality of what you're doing is equal to that. So if you, and why the people that you owe this explanation, the most are people that have been patronizing at the former price before and all. However, people that do mass market, you need to explain to people because at that point, like every dollar is very important. So you need to explain to them. Imagine you come to say, oh, when someone that has been paying you, as buying your clothes at $1,200, and you come to me and oh, let's say her name is Mary. Oh, Mary, I have something very important to tell you, but you've been a loyal customer, and I want us to ensure that we're on the same page, right? We're increasing our prices. And Mary's like, oh my days, we're increasing your price. Oh, does that mean that I will not be able to like afford you again? And she asks, oh, what's your new price? And you tell her $1,300.
She'll be like, okay.
Exactly, because so you said all that to just do that. That's not what's the increase in price. Another disadvantage of that is that by adding just $100, you've not been able to increase the offering or the quality of what you are doing so marginal to like what. So if we're increasing the price up, we are also increasing the value high as much. So what I would say we will double the price. I'm always about that double the price. So we double the price. In fact, not 2,400. Let's do it the new way. We sell it at 2,500 per piece. So Jeffrey, quick maths. If we're selling at 2,500 per piece, how many pieces do we need to sell to make 100,000?
I think we might still stay within 40 pieces.
Okay.
Definitely.
Let's see your maths. Let's compare. I'm not saying anything again because apparently
100,000.
yes, divided by 2,500. Beautiful. So we are going to sell 40 pieces, the same 40 pieces at this price. I'm sure someone watching this right now is in a similar scenario like with this. In fact, I can bet someone also in fashion, also so trying to scale. Yeah. So send us a check for free strategy. Just send us something. Ask for account details for this free strategy session that you're enjoying. So, however, we know that we need more efforts because the effort to sell $1,200 garments different from $2,500 garments. We need to like surcharge, and with that different things. So obviously this is outside of scope, but you need to also increase the quality of your products. You've spoken about the kind of materials you use, attention to craftsmanship, the packaging, everything, the customer service, everything has to match a 2,500 tag. If not, you're a fraudster. All right, good. Now, once that is done, so now we're talking about now another part of it that needs to be equal to that content. So we want to use content to attract those people that can also pay $2,500, right? Good. So our goal in the next month is $500,000 by selling 40 pieces of a $2,500 garments, right? So this is your revenue goal. Now, this alone, by the way, you could have different goals and all, but let's just stick with money because that's what we're here for, right? To make money eventually. As we're impacting the world, as we're doing everything we need to do, money literally makes everything possible. So with this revenue, it's going to set us in start. So we know we need to sell 40 garments. So it helps us a lot. So now we then go into it in regards to content. So apart from revenue, are there other business goals or brand goals that you're trying to achieve?
Okay. Aside that, I want to use, like I said from the previous story, how I got to this level. I want to also continue the legacy of my parents, right?
Okay.
And just tell that story, and just beyond the sales, I want to carry people along in how this has been done, and in that sense, just showcase the heritage of Africa in that level. So yeah, that's
okay. So the next one is awareness. On Nigerian heritage globally. So basically, you want to be the Burna Boy of fashion industry.
You got it. Right on point.
How many people do you think will need to know about the job for this to happen? Let's say people that earn like 100K above
Okay.
can splurge on this once in a while. In fact, they're only 40 pieces. So, except you're like an avid collector, you should not want to have more than that.
Okay.
So, should we say, so let's just use quick maths, right? So, if we want to sell 40 pieces, awareness on Nigerian heritage globally, and we say 40 pieces, 0.1%, 40%, 40 pieces is 0.1% of what? So, let's do quick maths. We did some quick maths off camera to avoid further embarrassment to ourselves. So we want awareness on Nigerian heritage globally, right? So what's population of the world now? 7 billion, 8 billion? Okay, calm. So what's the population of Nigeria in the country alone? 200 plus million. Okay, so if 100 million people know about Tijo, would you call that around the world? Would you call awareness on Nigerian heritage globally?
You know, 100 million.
Yeah, why are you crossing your legs? 100 million is a lot.
But compared to if you are doing the math, like 8 billion people, yeah, 100 million is a lot.
100 million, yeah. But now, in reference to 8 billion, you're like, that's calm.
Still, yeah.
But
it's
if
a lot.
100 million people know about it, that's actually
would-
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So should we say, and if 100 million people know you, and 0.0001% of 100 million people, at least you have to sell like 40 pieces of this. Yeah. So we're shooting for the stars here. Like, why can't we say 100 million people? We're going for reach, not awareness, right? So reach is the unique people that saw your platform or your content or your brand. So awareness on Nigerian Radio Global from 100 million reach value. Okay, that makes sense. So I know you have many other goals, maybe probably your employees, maybe to get into bigger space and everything. But for these two things, I think these are two key metrics that will help us in the content. So if we're going to get 100 million people to see your content within the year, so that's averaging like 25 million per quarter, and 25 divided by 3 is what? What's 25 divided by 3?
That's some points.
Yeah, that's in points.
6.
8.3, that's like 8.3 million people every month, right? And if 8.3 divided by 4 will be what? 2 point what? Or 1 point something? 2.0 something. So that's 2 million people per week. So on an average, you are looking for 2 million people to see your content every week. But again, we know that one content might go up, and even if it's lower than 2 million, but in the end, you want like 8 million people to see your content every week. So this already sets the tone for what kind of content we need to produce and the efforts that we need to put into it to be able to attain that, right? So you're watching this right now, I want you to have, and you have similar goals with awareness, you can do this quick maths. So this immediately puts it in scope. So if before you're just sitting there thinking that, oh, I'll just sit down, I'll do a selfie video, or I'll just sit down, I'll just take a video, I'll just record casually, and I'll just post on my story once a week, and magic will happen. Do you believe you can get such numbers? So whatever your awareness is, depending on what you're trying to achieve, by cutting it down, it gives you a very realistic view of what you need to do. So you can see that we're not playing small boy league. If we're trying to get 8 million people to watch our content every. So we already have the goals and all that we're trying to achieve this. So which will now take us into the next stage, which will be your personalized content blueprint. So now we want to do an outline of your content goals, your target persona, value star, content media, and chosen form. So what we're going to do basically is to see how we are going to answer this 100 million reach question, right? Of what level we need to be, what is the blueprint. So the answer to this is your blueprints. Okay? Beautiful. So the first thing about our blueprint is for us to know where we're going. So right now on the screen, I'm going to pull up a newsletter that we can say is one of the pillars of Project Aegon. So this is probably like a 2,700 word newsletter in which we went in depth to see how you can create content. So you can, the link will be showing somewhere on the screen right now. So you can go into it and read this article right now. And you can also subscribe to the newsletter. We drop things like this once a month. So what is basically the blueprint? So the blueprint is where we outline content goals that sync with our business. And because we are not influencers, we need to ensure that what we are doing is very targeted. So we already know that awareness is key. But for us to take this awareness to revenue, we know that engagement is also very important. So, and when we say engagement, what is engagement for us? What does engagement mean in this regard? So for this awareness to convert eventually into money, what does it mean? Jeffrey, as an observer, so that's definitely with us, we have, this is our end goal, right? This revenue. We just want to sell 40 pieces. I want to make this money, right? And we know we want awareness of this 100 million people. So we want to define engagement, which is the bridge between ear and ear. So what important metric would you think from, this is a safe space. When it goes to the internet, it might not be a safe space again. But what is that bridge, engagement-wise, that you think we can use for that? What metric do we need to measure, right? So engagement, typical engagement things could be followers. It could be link in bio clicks. It could be, it could be comments and all. So we know we want to get this reach. How do we get this? How can we convert this $100 million reach into engagement? What would you say is the most important thing that will take us close to sales of garments?
Well, we need a lot of eyeballs on your content, and it would be.
Do you need a mic or it will get it? Okay.
You need a lot of eyeballs on your content, so maybe followers, like to have a lot of followers, so people can start following your journey, and then it sort of now makes them enter your sales funnel to now come down to seeing that they are interested in.
Beautiful. So we need to get followers. So we'll go through the ultimate percentage. So I like playing percentage games and all. And the safe one is always 1%. So what is 1% of 100 million? 1% of 100 million.
1%. That'll be a million.
We've botched our math so much that
1 million now.
we are scared of doing 1 of 100.
10% is of 100?
Of 100 million. 1% of 100 million.
Oh, 100 we're doing 10%.
No,
1%.
one.
Oh.
10% is 10 million.
So 1% should be 1 million. We're hitting the calculator for this. We should just stick to strategy. We will ever tell you that we are going into the business of numbers or accounting, right? This is evidence to just take us, cuff us,
Don't worry, bring the 100 million first. You see the extra income. The math to math.
Okay.
I think we say dollars when we say doing the math.
Actually, I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
Just put dollars, you will
Then
understand.
immediately, that's $1 million. So we know we need engagement of 1 million followers. Now, it's becoming scary, right? 1 million followers in 1 year. That's audacious. Now, if we have 1 million followers in a year, now let's click on it. Like, eventually, we want them to come and buy things, so click on links.
Click on links.
So again, we go 1%. But when it comes to money, I even like to go lower and go 0.1%. Right?
Yeah.
In fact, to even be safer, I try to do 0.01%. So what is 0.01% of a million? Let's do that math real quick.
Or a million.
I think it's going to be...
100.
We did not, this was not our plan to do maths in this session. 100. So it means we want 100 people to click on our page, which is very nice from 1 million, right? So if 100 million click, right? We want 100 million to at least add to cart, right? So engagement of 1 million followers, which will trickle down to 100 add to cart. And looking at following, assuming we're following best practices and all, cart abandonments and all, we should be able to get 40 pieces. So now, if we divide 1 million followers into 4, again, that's 250K. So eventually to bring us to, what's that number? 8,000 people per month. Is that correct? Or per week? No. So similar number. So 1 million followers divided by 12 is what? 1 million divided by 12.
1 million divided by 12.
It's 3,353.
It's 3,000. So that's it. That's why that it was in my head. So it needs to get 3,000. It's 3,000 followers every month. It's 3K followers every month. So this is. So if you're following along, whatever your goal is, just follow our formula to keep breaking it down. So with this, you can already see, you know what you can do. So in your mind, if you have said that you cannot get this in your mind, you cannot get this already. So if you want to scale down, you can scale down. But we are saying that we want to get it, right? So this is our upper ceiling, right? Good. So that's clear. So we already have our engagement goals for this. And again, you can see how realistic it is. So you can see when we've done our 0.01% and everything, we can see how we get. So 1 million followers, we got this from 0.01%, right? To get this, to get 100 add to cart. And this 100 add to cart is eventually coming up here. So it's 40 sales over the year. So, my CEO, are we good?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So now we know our important engagement metrics, and also that's our content goal, right? So this is a content goal that syncs with our business. This is not a content goal to call ourselves influencers or just to get vanity metrics like empty followers. The next thing we want to go is now, okay, 1 million kind of people of what? We need a very clear picture of who we are targeting. So now I want to dive into the target audience. We want to create your target persona, which is the person you're trying to sell to. So you've created, you've been selling already. So this is quite easy for you. So for those people that have not created it, I feel like this is a good point for you to watch this video on Instagram. You can post this, go to Instagram and watch it, or anywhere you consume short form content, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and watch this. However, if you want even more in-depth analysis of it, you can read this. We have another newsletter article, which we'll show on the screen right now, which gives you very in-depth steps on how to create target audience. So we'll be using that as our reference right now. To figure out who our target audiences, we answered these 4 questions. What do you want? What do they want? Who's they? And how do we keep they fulfilled, right? So we first answer, what do you want, right? So target persona. What do you want? So we've already established what you want when you're telling the story of your brand. So what is the purpose of Tijo? Can you give us a refresher on purpose of Tijo, what you want?
Of course. So, I mean, the main purpose of it is beyond, linking back to the story, right? Beyond just the money, of course, making money is an heritage thing. It's me trying to continue the legacy that my family has put it through and put me on in that sense, and then also bringing out the culture of like the Nigerian heritage in that sense to the world. You understand? So Tijo, basically, what I want for Tijo is to be that bridge between the ancient time with the modern, tying them together. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Beautiful. So, if you could summarize that into a one-liner, what would that be? That becomes harder, Abi.
If it goes out
Yeah.
now, for a one-liner, that would be, nah, it's a bit tough, but
Beautiful. Even so, should we make it 2 lines or 3 lines?
2 lines would be, why am I thinking of words? Okay. I would say heritage. So it being teacher having one of one. Yeah.
One of one. What do you want? You want people to experience heritage exclusively. A one-on-one experience, right? And you are doing this through garments. Good. Now, the people that we are talking to, what do they want? What gap is in their life right now?
So from what I know, right, all the people I've interacted with, so these are people that have money. These are people that have like prestige. And one of the common characteristics about these guys or these people are that they want to have something, they have this, there's this gap or this field, and a feeling that they need to fill up of, oh, I own this, a collection, right? They are collecting items, right? And something they could brag about and be like, oh yes, I wear this, and it's just me and 4 other persons in the world, right? Those are the kind of people that have the value on their high scale. They value exclusivity, they value the craftsmanship of that product, right? And finally, I would say that they also value that will I say, the prestige that comes with it, because you are wearing this, they feel connected to their root. They feel like kings and queens in that sense. So yeah, those are the kind of people who are.
Beautiful. So this is a very abridged version. I feel like we need to do another video on target audience alone. What do you think? Beautiful. So we'll have to do another video on target audience alone. Maybe not in this format, but this channel needs a video on just like a long form video. So typically what would be beautiful would be for us to go in depth, and the way we do strategy sessions over our cryptos when we are building target audience personas.
Yes,
That would be beautiful.
Yes, just like expanded version of the way we did pillars 6 personas,
Yeah.
go in depth into each character, just like the way we listed them and all of that. And yeah,
beautiful.
I think it's important.
That makes sense. So what we're going to do is comment target audience if you want us to create that video in the comment section. So that'll probably be like another 1-hour video where we go in depth into this as well, right? So we've discovered what do you want, what do they want. The next question then will be who's they, right? So now we want to go nitty-gritties now and see it. So we created this target persona framework that you can see, which is a tree. Now, how does this work? You start with a basic profile, which is this trunk, giving them the basics. So the name, age range, gender, occupation, and similar information. Then the common interest, right? What did they spend their time doing? What did they spend that time? What did they spend their money on? And we move into the driving force. What things propel them to do what they want to do? So now let's build this into them. So let's give them a name, right? So let's try to build the framework to know who they are. So would you say your clientele is predominantly male or female, or is equally split?
I'll say predominantly male.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So what percentage?
Currently, I would say more of 60-40. And why I'm going to go with that is because one of our flagship, so far, our flagship product is our the Agbada piece, right? And of course, this is a male predominant. Like, I mean, some female probably want to have it,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes they want to have it for their husband or just to have it for having sake in that sense. But
So if we say 70%, is that accurate?
yeah,
Or more or less?
yeah, 70% is just about
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Male 70%. If we could give them a name, let's give a random name to your typical customer.
Like random name.
Akin or John.
Yeah. Let's do it, John.
John. Okay, John. I feel like John is one of the most overused words names in his life. Age range.
Age range. So I would say 40 upwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 40 plus.
Of course, that doesn't say that they are not like younger people, but like
this is the focus and all. So, and occupation, where would you say majority of occupation?
these guys are investors. These guys
Okay.
are entrepreneurs. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Investors,
serial entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and C-suites.
C-suits, yeah. C-suits.
Okay, beautiful. So we have like, this is a very like, very like, real quick something and all. They can this should not be done this quick. By the way, they are doing yours and also turn your post notifications when we have the video so that you don't do what we just did. Common interests. What do they spend their time doing? Where do they spend that time? What do they spend money on? Who do they follow on social media? We need to know everything about them that builds on the basic profile. The more we know, the better. So common interests. What do they spend their time doing? We already know that they spend a lot of time in their business, but when they're not doing business, what do they do?
When they're not doing business, right, these are people that values like a form of community. But when I say community, it's not a open field community. It's like group of people, "Oh, let's go do golf," that kind of thing. And from there, they kind of have this form of exclusive parties that are not like open, like private parties. And when they do that, of course, this is where these people show their wealth. This is where these people kind of host their, glam in that sense. And this is where they showcase that one-of-one item that they have. Like, yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. So they love physical experiences, and close friends are exclusive and all. So now that when they are online, what kind of things, like what are the conversations that connect those experiences that they have together and all typically? And all, I know, except you're tracking their phone, you probably might not know, but excuse me, when we're doing in-depth research about them, we'll be able to literally look at their followings, right? That's how crazy that we need to go to that. Now, why this part is very important is that it helps us know the kind of things they consume, the kind of things that they're interested in. So, off the top of your head, just while guess like based on the friends that you have there and everything, what kind of content do they consume on social media?
Okay, what other content they consume? I know of a particular friend that likes to watch content. So I would say informative content. And why am I saying informative? In the sense that, I mean, one of the people I know kind of like to watch stuff about like private jets, the information about it, how much it costs, what goes into building all of that. So they kind of enjoy to see the behind the scenes of something that they considered luxurious, right?
Okay, beautiful. So we've outlined this into the lifestyle or billionaire lifestyle. They like experiencing this. They like seeing behind the scenes of this lifestyle. Then could we also say that they love business related content because it's about money? So they are very interested in business. Spider-Man. So we could say that they also love entrepreneur content. So value. Right. What about entertainment in general? That's depends. Okay. So entertainment, whatever they find entertaining. In this, we can branch this into as many things as you want. So what they find entertaining can go as niche as the kind of artists they listen to, the kind of comedians they listen to. When we say they consume entrepreneurial content, what kind of social media, what kind of things do they follow, right? In fact, if you have the capacity, you could literally be around them for a day, shadow them, literally look into their phone and see what they consume, right? It's that deep because why we need to do this is, for instance, if we are going hard on social media, it helps us know the kind of content we should create. It helps us know the kind of people we should collaborate with to be so that they can see us. It helps us with our discoverability, basically,
I agree.
right? So this is something that we want to spend a lot of time on. Now, we want to figure out their driving force. Why do they do what they do? So, which is very similar to this. We've already put it. They want to be exclusive, right? Prestige, royalty of sorts. Now, what we need to do is that all the things we've said, we should not see it as mountains or like things that's like bound us. As we progress with the brand, we flow forward with that. So that's that. Then we now look at how we can keep them fulfilled, basically. And how we can keep them fulfilled is by answering these needs that they want. And because you've been running the business already, you already know that by giving them exclusive garments, they can do this. Which also now takes us back to what we did initially. So if you look at this right here, you see that before they were spending $1,200, right? So now we are saying, okay, now we want to even make it more and make it $2,500 a piece, right? Which like is even more exclusive. So we see we're in the right trajectory with this, so we can do it. So, but at the same time, we've already outlined that what is very important to them is craftsmanship. So on the business side of things, you need to ensure that the craft itself is awesome. And we also need to know that they need to understand the story, the BTS behind this that is making it, what it is, right? So, assuming we have that target audience persona or figured out, we will then move into the next stage, which will be value stock. So basically, let's go back to our reference something. So the value you are offering through content to the target. So when we talk about value, so we have the target persona figured out, right? In a very condensed version, right? Ideally, this takes like days to figure out and all. So now, as we know, we have a clear figure of, so we know John, John, a 40-plus-year-old male who is either an investor, entrepreneur, or C-suits, interested in exclusivity and all. Of course, we cannot reduce a man or a woman to this, but these are like the main archetypes I want to figure out. So now I want to know, okay, what if he's consuming content online, what would he find valuable? Like, what kind of value are we offering to him? And when we talk about value online, it's a very simple formula that we use when creating content for clients or ourselves. So value can be divided into three main categories, right? But can you help us with?
Okay, yes. So 3 categories. We'll start with education.
Okay.
Right? People like to know stuff or how did you do this? What the history of this?
Education.
Right? Yeah.
So videos like this is available. This is education.
Yeah, this is exactly. This is a perfect example for that.
Okay.
So while
Next.
watching that as well, entertaining, right?
Okay.
Yeah, entertainment. Yeah, they have
Entertainment is
to
another type of value.
another type of value.
What's your best? Which shows up in your FYP the most these days, entertainment wise?
Entertainment, personally,
Yes, personally.
I like wasabi.
Like Wasabi, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Good guy. If you don't like Wasabi, you should check him
You
out.
should check it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then so education, entertainment, and at the end of it, inspirational. Like he has to inspire you to, do beyond what you want and just imagine yourself.
You're already talking all inspirational.
Yeah, because that's it. Yeah, so
So
inspirational.
we could divide value. Value could either be education, entertainment, or inspirational. Or inspiration. So, okay, so you can kill this AL over A. So education, entertainment, or inspiration. This does not mean that it cannot be a mix of this, right? So when it's a mix of this, we need to create a ratio of sorts and all. So why we ask this question is all these content that we're going to spend time doing, by the time they finish watching the content, if they do not feel educated, entertained, or inspired, then we've wasted time, right? So now, on all these things, based on what we know so far from John, which of this would you say they would value the most?
I feel they'll value the education part, but I'm leaning towards more to the inspiration.
What kind of education? So we're talking about education in general. For them, we're talking about education with regards to our brand. So it's education relating to our pieces, education with regards to heritage. So if they value heritage so much, education with regards to heritage is also very important. Entertainment, I know they can watch Mr. Beast and every other person to be entertained. But inspiration is also very key. They need to see the prestige and all the relatability and all. They need to see people win those pieces and the people that they aspire to be, the people that look like them, right? As well. So if we could ascribe percentages to this, which we're giving education more weight, right? So we could say 70% education, 30% inspirational. Entertainment and any percentage for entertainment?
Yeah, I was even about to cut back, but so if we do 65 education,
Okay.
right, and then we have about 30 for then the 5 on entertainment, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to just watch any boring stuff, right? So at the time I feel they get excited about.
So entertainment is how many percent?
Just 5%.
Okay. 30. Okay, good. So now we have the value that we want to do, even the distribution of valuable content and promotional content, right? So how many percentage of our content is value? How many percentage of our content is us trying to sell? We have the golden ratio. Sometimes we do 80-20, 70-30, depending on the goal that we are going for and all. So now, next, the medium the content to be conveyed in. Now, on each of these platforms, we have literally millions of people. And it's very easy for you to say, oh, if there are millions of people on these platforms, then why don't I be on all the platforms? But here's the thing. If we're just starting, I am a strong believer that of focusing our effort into one platform. High risk, but at the same time, it allows us to know everything about that platform before we move into it. Now, as we grow and we've gotten a hang on the platform, even though we can never say that we've conquered the platform because there's always ways to grow. I feel like, okay, I'm ready to tap into, then we can expand. Then we can now talk about expansion strategy, repurposing content from one platform to the other one. How can we ensure that? Because when we go to a new platform, we're literally learning all over again from it. So when you're ready to start in this new journey, you're watching this video because you want to learn how to make content. So if you've been making content before on Instagram, Twitter, X, you have a WhatsApp channel, you have every Telegram channel, you have a WhatsApp group chat, you have a Discord server, you're just everywhere. Yeah. Remember that for each of these platforms, you need to create content that feels native exactly to this content. So you're spreading yourself thin. So why don't you condense your efforts and put it in one place? So it's similar to you having chasing like different things. Your attention is going to be divided. So now saying, okay, you know what, kill those 5 things and kill 5 of the 6 things and put your efforts in the 6th one, right? So now, as we just spoke about different platforms also having different content formats, right? So for instance, on Instagram alone, you could do videos, you could do images, you could write on Instagram, like you could on your stories every time. On X, for instance, you could write long form articles, you could do videos like long videos, I think even longer than Instagram. You could do audio on X, you could do pictures as well on X. So as we choose one platform, we also want to choose one medium in which we dispense this. Now, we can do more than one medium. We can repurpose into one medium, but the goal is to conquer one thing first, and know it properly, everything we know about it before we expand into different formats. So, seeing as we have so many platforms, so we have to decide so before we go into, as we have different types of platforms, we also have different types of formats in which people consume content, right? So we have videos, we have images. What do we have again? Videos, images, text, we have voice, and whatever the future brings to us. Now, obviously, the platform in which we are on will determine the content type that we're using. Some platforms allow a hybrid of sorts. So if you're using X, for instance, you can do videos, long videos. You could do audio, long audios. You could do text. You could do articles. You could do tweets. You could do images and all. Now, when we want to decide what content format in which we are going to dispel information to attract the right people to ourselves, it's also very tempting to say, I can do everything. But again, remember the model. Let's focus our energy. Now, there's a formula in deciding what we need to do, and we can divide it into 3 parts. So the first thing that will decide what format that we need to be, or what format we need to create on, is 1, what we like, what feels like home to us. 2, where our target lives. And 3, what platform we're choosing. So now let's spin this formula around and start with what platform we're choosing. So according to what you know, where do your target personas live the most? So can you mention 3 platforms?
3 platforms. So 3 platforms in no particular order. I would say Instagram, right? I would say YouTube, and I would strongly say Facebook as well.
Okay. I'm not the person that draws the logos at cryptos, so don't judge this by anything, right? So we have these 3 platforms that I spend the most time on, right? Now, let's now go into you. Now, can we list content formats? Jeffrey, behind camera, do you want to help us with that? Content format. Okay, we have videos, images, articles, thank you. Pictures and images.
Same thing.
Podcasts, audio.
Podcast, audio.
So we could just leave it as these 4 main things, because in videos we have different types of videos. You said pictures and designs, which are all images as well, right? In articles we have different forms. We have newsletters, we have short forms, right? We have tweets. In audio we have long form, we have podcasts, then we have live. So, what was X's native version of when you stream live audio? What's it called?
Space.
Good. So we have space. So you see, in these different formats, we have different variation depending on the platform, right? Now, Mr. Bolari, co-founder of, founder of Tijo.
Yeah.
which would you say you're more comfortable with? Sitting down in front of a camera, taking pictures of yourself, writing, or recording audio. It's fine to be very comfortable in everything.
Okay.
Right? So let's start with the one that you are least comfortable with.
Least comfortable with would be articles, to be honest.
Why?
But in as much as that's just personally, but I know that
We're talking about you personally now.
Yeah.
Don't talk about your market or anything.
my market, okay.
So you personally, you
me
don't like
yeah,
you don't like writing.
Writing.
By the way, this is Bolari integer, not
not the
Bolari.
yeah.
Disclaimer.
So followed by closely between audio, I think audio,
Okay, which one do you like the most?
video,
Beautiful.
videos.
So we have videos. As a star boy, we're about to say, you said between images and audio, videos mix images and audio together. So we have the two. And you being uncertain about this, but being very clear about this means it's videos that we're doing, right? Good. So now we know where they live, we know what you like doing, right? So now, what content do you agree that they consume a lot of videos? Great. So we're going to focus on videos. Now, on these three platforms, which of these three platforms do you personally, since you've been using social media, have you spent the most time on?
So I'll say YouTube.
Okay.
And why am I saying YouTube basically is because of my creative side of things, where I want to research about things, right? Factories, processes, all of that concerning my business. So I kind of, venture into that. But on a day-to-day, on a go, I think Instagram is closely behind
Okay.
YouTube as well.
So this means we're striking Facebook out of the mix, right? Zoc, don't come for us. Just bludgeoned Facebook, but you know the vibe. Okay, great. So now we need to find, again, it's very tempting to say, oh, let's do Instagram and YouTube. So now let's go to your customers again. 70%, sorry, John, we need to know, where does John discover new content the most? Instagram or YouTube? Where do they spend more time?
I would say YouTube.
You say YouTube.
Yeah, this is why. This is the only reason why I would say YouTube, right? Because these people are actually, of course, like we said, investors, entrepreneurs, and all of that. And they will do a lot of, and I feel like this is where the SEO system comes in. So they do a lot of search and all of that. I know Google and YouTube, Google owns YouTube, and majority of things they kind of search for or research about, or in terms of like on Google, kind of gets dumped on YouTube. And I feel like that's a very good place to like target them, right? Because Instagram, in a sense, can be quite distracting for them, because YouTube has different content, long content, news, proper information, like things that interest them, right? Oh, they want to know about stock market. They will not really go on YouTube, but they might stream it live on a channel, yeah, you understand, on YouTube and all of that.
So we have a winner, YouTube.
Okay.
I won't lie, I was hoping you'll go for Instagram because I love Instagram.
Yeah.
But the clients.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to use a similar formula for when you are deciding on your content blueprint. Value, what is your value ratio? What platform are you going to choose? Depending on where your customer lives and where feels like home to you. What content formats do they consume the most? What content formats are you comfortable with the most? And what content format works best on the platform, and which we've come to a beautiful mix, right? How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great about that. But does this, I mean, I personally hope that this does not fully strike out Instagram as, oh, this is a no-go area, because, like I said, the age bracket is 40 plus, right? And some of these people, when you get to a particular, like, being around them, I know that some of them wants to be in the know, like, oh, I'm still modern, I'm still all of this, I'm still out there, young, people that wants to make the kind of, maybe the lifestyle they want to live, nightlife and all of those things. They won't find that on YouTube. They will find the kind of women they want to move with, or the kind of outing they want to, like, just to experience that nightlife, we find on Instagram. So I'm not discrediting Instagram entirely, but I'm saying that in the core of most of these guys, they will probably be on YouTube to check more stuff, but Instagram also is that area that you could also get.
Now that's the thing. You just spoke like a typical, like everybody. You just say, oh, I can be here too. Oh, they are also here. I can be here. You just spoke like everybody, and I love that, because what came to your mind. By the way, if you currently have thoughts, if you're thinking like Bolarewa right now, just drop a comment on this timestamp, right? So that we know that there are a lot of people thinking about it. Then if you can reply to someone's timestamp, and let's just create like a very beautiful comment thread within there. So no, it's a short answer. YouTube alone. Choose your poison and go in on that, right? I know that the spirit you want to. I'm not saying you secure your handle and do everything. You might want to go and post sometimes on Instagram, but that's not what we're focusing on. If you want, after our session, you can go and do what you want to do on Instagram, but we're focusing on YouTube. Okay. We're not breaking our rules for nobody. We're focusing on YouTube. And when it's time to expand to Instagram, we'll create Instagram. Instagram is a different network with different rules and different sets, different ball game, different playbook. So yeah, one network, one platform. Yeah? Great. So now we want to go into ideation. And we want to go into the nitty-gritties. What kind of content? See, we're repurposing paper. Like, we want to repurpose our content. For ideas, it's always good. How do we create ideas? So for a very quick summary on that, you can watch this video on Instagram. You can post this video right now, go and watch India idea on Instagram. How do you come up with ideas? You can pause this video right now and go watch this video on Instagram or anywhere you consume short form content on how to come up with ideas. But there are different ways. Ideas exist every time. So let's look at a quick framework to create ideas. So how can you generate ideas? How do we generate ideas? So the first place to generate ideas from is from specific knowledge. Specific knowledge is knowledge that only you have in this world. And how do you get it? You get it from your unique mix of things that you've gone through. So for instance, let's assume we have a videographer that did not start as a videographer. For instance, let's say they started writing, right? And they started a blog. They learned how to be a writer. Then eventually they say, oh, the pen and paper is not enough for me to convey what I was doing. Then they started saying, oh, I want to start to taking pictures, and they became a photographer. And they said, okay, what will happen if I mix both of them together? And then they became a videographer. Over the course of time, they have learned different things for them to be able to perform well in all those things, and they've gained specific knowledge, right? Over time. So when they open their mouths, when they ideate, when they think about things, they think about it through the lens of all the experiences that they've had. And this is one of the most important things when you create content. Do you know why? We live in an age of AI-generated content in which people are churning out things, right? It's very simple. You could literally go on ChatGPT right now and put in the title of this video, how to create content consistently, how to create awesome content as an entrepreneur consistently. ChatGPT will spin out ideas. But now here's the thing. It's probably going to spin out things that is general consensus, things in the zeitgeist, right? Safe things of sorts, right? Things that people might already know, right? Now, the essence of specific knowledge is that it gives us the ability to be able to talk about things from our perspective. Look at, for instance, when we spoke about choosing a small audience size and charging them a high amount, as opposed to taking a lot of people and charging them lower. Probably 50% or more disagree with us, but that is our opinion from our experience and all. So you need to be audacious with what you want to do with it. So specific knowledge. Before you got to become the founder of Tijo, what did you go through? What are those things that you went through that gives you a unique perspective? So tell me more about yourself.
Okay. So for me,
This part you like, Abi?
yeah, I like this part because, like I said, it still falls back to the whole beginning of how this whole thing started. Because part of
This guy is an actor.
this used to bang. Okay, so I mean, I remember like going to like the main markets of where all of these materials are being created, like in terms of for the garment, in putting them together, right? And having to know the right quantity, having to know the width, having to know the measure for which all this, like the dye, the cutting, the materials, the sewing, all of that together is just something that was so intriguing for me when following my parents and all of that. So that craftsmanship is part of a very huge deal about the process that I have.
So I'm going to cut you there. So
Okay.
we're going to write it. You have the knowledge of
Fabric, yeah.
fabric, textile, sourcing. So you have in-depth knowledge on that.
Yeah.
Great. Now, for you to be able to do this, it means you also have direct contact with the culture,
Yeah.
right? I remember you also mentioned that you worked with your father
Yeah.
as well. So should we say knowledge on classical methods?
Yeah.
Okay, vintage, classic.
Vintage,
Yeah.
classic, yeah.
Knowledge on legacy. Knowledge on legacy methods.
Yeah.
Legacy techniques.
Techniques, yeah.
Then you said that you enjoyed, so you also have oral history, right?
Yeah.
Direct access to oral history. Now, outside of this, what other specific knowledge you have outside of your profession? Like, what was in your journey? Things are not related to Tijo. What other things have you done?
Oh, so let's see. What other things have I done? That would be in the aspect of managing people, right? I work with organizations that manage people and all of that. But
So you worked in management.
yeah,
So management. What was your role? Okay. Quality assurance management. So you understand the importance of standards. Specific knowledge, yes. Standard, structure. Yeah. And Accurate. Okay. What other things as well? What hobbies do you have?
What hobbies?
What's your
Tennis.
tennis? You love playing tennis a lot.
Yes.
So you love sports.
Sports.
You
Yeah.
any other thing apart from tennis?
Anything apart from tennis, chess. I like playing
Okay.
chess.
So tennis. And so you have specific knowledge about tennis. And this also aligns with a lot of target audience. So you can see when you build your specific knowledge, you don't restrict yourself into the profession. You look at everywhere, your journey in entirety to see how you get there, right? So specific knowledge is one way in which we can use to generate ideas. We'll see how we get to this very soon. Now, another way we use to generate ideas are FAQs. Right? So these are frequently asked questions that people have asked us over time, right? Now, if somebody asks us a question, another person asks us that question, another person asks a question, it means other people have this question in our mind. And that's a very good way for us to find content, because if they have those questions in their mind, when they are searching for the answers, they come to the internet. And if we can provide answers to it through content, we have trust. They trust us that we can convert into different things in the future. So, all FAQs, all popular questions people ask regards your field. Not the specific question itself, but around what. So, for instance, do they ask questions about the authenticity? Authenticity. Right? Of authenticity of the garment of fabrics. Right? They could also ask about aftercare. Right? Good. They could also have questions about how to wear it, the proper way to wear it, right? The styling. They could also have questions about the history itself, the history, legacy. Now, remember that you are going for global appeal. So you could also talk about the garment itself, what garments mean, right? Meaning of garments. Is there a better way to say that?
History.
What the garments represents. Function. Symbol, yes. Function and symbolism. Jeffrey should be beside me here. Function and symbolism of garments. Right? Great. And we will go on and on and on like that. So basically, you just want to go into it. So now this one is from the ones that we've asked. Another way to even get more FAQs will be to go into competitors. So the people that are related to that space will go to their comment section and we basically scour there and say, what questions are people asking? We go to YouTube channels that are related to this content. We go to the comment section. What are people asking? Right? We use tools like Answer the Public. We use Google's tools as well. Google has different tools on keywords analysis. So on search queries, for instance, that we could also use. So forums, Quora, Reddit are very beautiful places in which we can get questions in which people ask relating to what we do. The next way we could do is to find tangents. Now, how can we find connections in other fields that John is interested in that is not directly related to fashion or to teacher? So for instance, if we look at the target audience profile that we created the other time, you mentioned what what kind of content they consume, for instance. So let's assume, what other interests do they have? Can you mention one of the interests? What kind of content creators that they love consuming from?
They will like content on private jets,
Okay, lifestyle.
lifestyle, right? Luxury cars,
Okay.
right? The exclusive ones, the ones that the showroom ones, right? Of course, some of these guys are interested in politics,
Okay.
right? Just knowing what is happening
Do you
around.
want to touch politics?
No, not
Okay.
really. But
Okay. Okay.
what else? Golf. That's the one
Okay.
major sport that they link it.
Tennis.
Tennis as well.
Say tennis again.
Um,
What entrepreneurial pages do they follow? Mofe Ade.
yeah,
Okay.
they do Mofe Day definitely.
Forbes.
Forums, Forbes,
Yes.
definitely Business Insiders, stuff like that.
Okay, great. So this is of tangents. What we're trying to do with tangents is that if they already spend time in these places, we want to create content that overlays it. How do we do this? So can you pick any of this randomly?
Lifestyle.
More lifestyle is very generic. Let's
Okay,
go specific.
let's do
Something in lifestyle. What's in lifestyle here? Since
what's
you
in
want to speak
lifestyle?
Luxury cars,
Luxury
private
cars. Yeah,
jets. Which
luxury
one?
car.
Because everything here is lifestyle.
It's lifestyle.
Apart
Okay.
from Mofe. Mofe is lifestyle. So which one?
Luxury cars.
Luxury cars? Okay, good. What tangents can we draw between luxury cars and Tijo?
Okay. So take for instance, there are some luxurious cars like. Okay, let's take for instance Mercedes.
Okay.
Right. There is Mercedes has this identity of, I mean, looking at the story of Mercedes, it's not even actual name that was given, based on the idea that I have, or based on information I've gotten. Like I can't pronounce the German name, but in essence, what I'm trying to say is that there is a legacy, right? How it started, right, to where they are right now, and this is similar to what Tijo is trying to do, right? There is a legacy from how the old story started, right? The old luxury brand, right? And how is the premium of the brand coming from the heritage of Nigerian roots and taking it to global level, diaspora, and linking all that together into the modern world now. I feel like in that similarities where you have Mercedes being what you want to have, and then linking that with Tijo, I feel like they have similarities in that legacy aspect and
Okay,
family.
beautiful. So the concept of luxury cars, of heritage, and everything that they stand for. So if we have heritage, if we have speed, if we have everything aligned, we have a tangent of sorts. So we are picking one of this. And that's one that you want us to pick right now will be what? Heritage and all. So we can find an overlay between that. So let's say, for instance, luxury cars, they want to understand the history of it. So don't you think a very beautiful crossover tapping into the legacy version will be vintage cars? That way we can do something about vintage cars that were existing during the period in which our garments were existing. What do you think about that? Okay. Can you see this, Jeff? Okay. Vintage cars X vintage garments. So what we are doing is a sandbox. So we're not going too deep in. I just trying to create like general things that we can now, where we can now create like different specific things on it. So we'll come into that recently. So this is, we have a crossover, vintage cars and vintage garments. So from vintage cars and vintage garments, we can now go, so let's even pick just this as an idea. So for instance, putting these two words together, what comes to your mind, right? So from this, we could say, since it's on YouTube, can we go with car YouTubers? So we're just spitballing ideas. So imagine we have car YouTubers visit these vintage cars in the houses of people that look like John. Because again, people that look like John have these vintage cars, right? So we do that, and the content is hosted on Tijo. So on the top of your head, they're like, what do vintage cars have to do with Tijo? Should Tijo not be the product? But no, again, we're seeing that this is content that they're interested in. So we're trying to host those experiences over here. Then what if we now do showcases? Our YouTubers hosting. So what if we do showcases, right? What if we do restorations?
Okay.
Right? What if we do history? Right? What if we do garments inspired by? So garments inspired by this vintage vehicle. Right? What if we do famous people who drove X, who drove car? Right? So you see, only from vintage cars and vintage garments, we've done 6 content categories. Only from vintage cars and vintage garments. And we are still in heritage, right? So from vintage cars and vintage garments, we can go into sports cars. And vintage garments. Now, it's getting crazier. What is the correlation on heritage here? I don't know. Let's think. What do sports cars have in common? Speed. High cost, right? So what if we do a series where we say how many CGLs can a Ferrari buy? Then we keep switching. So this could be a series of videos, short form videos. Then we switch Ferrari with different car brands, right? And if we want to go spicy, we even switch TGLs with other luxury brands. All right? Now, what if we go in depth and say a series in which we have, you said comedy and entertainment is important to them. What if we have a comedian wearing a vintage agbada to drive a sports car? Drive a tiny sports car. As a content series on its own. Right? What if we say, let's do one more. One more. What can we do? Speed. So, what if we tap into how long does How long does a Lambo? How long does it take to make a Lambo? How long does it take to make a Lambo? Again, we cross over into saying how long it makes to make TJ garments. So from just one idea, luxury cars, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different categories. In each of this category, we can easily spin out 20 videos. 8 times 20 is 160. 160 divided by 50, which is in the number of weeks. So we have 3 YouTube videos per week if we're just doing this. Now we now have luxury cars, we have golf. So you can imagine what we're doing with crossover golf and garment. Imagine someone wearing the agbada playing golf, right? Or imagine talking to popular golf people, private jets, right? There's this guy that's always talking about private jets on TikTok, one white man like this. Imagine doing a content collab with him. Lifestyle, that's very big. Tennis, Mofe wearing TJ garments. Wouldn't that be cool now, wouldn't it? Run the check. Forbes, right? Having a collab with Forbes. We go into FAQs, authentic fabrics. Like we go into where we actually source the fabrics, the people that bring in the fabrics. From just this that we've done, we have enough content for years over here, right? So now what happens when we have all these ideas? We need to store them, because once these ideas come randomly, we want a place. So you can click on this link that you're seeing right now to download a free Notion template that allows you to store ideas based on content type, platform, category, when you want to execute it, so that by the time you are ready to execute or create this content, you can go into it for sure. All right. So now once we have all these beautiful ideas, we now need to look at the resources. Like, what resources do we have that we use to produce this? Because we need to also look at the budget. It's very important as the entrepreneurs that we are. As we look at the budget, we also need to look at which of these content forms will help us hit our goals faster. Which of these converts into followers, right? Add to carts. People that will come and discover it. Because if we're going for 100 million followers, that will be like, was it 100 million followers or 1 million followers? Sorry, 1 million followers rather. So we're looking at YouTube now, that'll be subscribers. To get 1 million subscribers in 1 year is audacious. So you need to know that you need to invest in a proper content production team, right? But that does not stop us from creating the ideas or creating the scenarios in which we are going to do it. So now, however, we need to look at it that so now let's look at Tijo now. What do you have? What capacity do you have as Tijo, content-wise?
Well, content-wise, like I said, we've not been really out there in terms of content, right? Well, I'm looking to get more people in with create content, but generally right now it's just a very small content team, like a team of 1 or 2 persons in terms of that. So a lot of content has not been pushed out, a lot of content has not been created. Like, I'm not even super vast in that.
Okay. So if you have a very lean team, right?
Yeah.
Let's take this out. Good. So from all these ideas that we've generated, right now, we can literally populate 6 months easily. So we can say accounting is good. So we'll now move into workflow, right? So we're talking about your team.
Okay.
Right? So firstly, the essence of this is creating structure, right? So structure, so you must have heard the term create content consistently. So when we say create content consistently, we're not telling you to create content every day. We're telling you to create a schedule that you know you can stick with and just go with it. So if it's once a week that you know you can match up with, that's fine. But again, we're trying to hit 1 million subscribers. So we can't post once a week. So realistically, we know that we should be posting like every day, right? And thankfully on YouTube, we can do shorts, right? People get thousands of subscribers from shorts alone. So what schedule? However, you see why your goal is important and why having everything is realistic now.
true.
So now we already established that you're not the only one creating. So your team, who is on this your lean team? So we have you,
Yeah.
founder.
Yeah. I have an operations manager.
Okay.
So this person also have almost as much knowledge as I am about the
Okay.
product itself.
Great.
Yeah.
So you have operations manager. Are you open to hiring some people for this content? Okay,
Definitely,
good.
Yeah.
So if I could hire as many people, very few people as possible. You say you're not comfortable with writing,
Yeah.
right? Well, you have specific knowledge, you have ideas and everything. So what we want to get is a beast, right? I like calling them like beasts, which are like, so in development, we have what we call full stack developers. So these are people that can develop front end, back end, and all. In design, we have people that can design websites, design brands, people that can do static designs, motion designs. So similarly, in content production, we have people that can write, people that can ideate, and all those kind of things. So the creative sides and all. So you want a creative content creator. Are you comfortable with being the face of your brand?
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, in our video already. So.
Yeah.
You can do that. So a creative content creator.
Definitely.
So this creative content creator will support you with content as well, so that when you're doing business, it can also help. So which is a model that we love adopting for our clients as well. We believe that with the way content is evolving, every brand should have their own in-house creator that people associate with the brand. This can even evolve into different things by even having series revolving around different creators depending on how much your budget is. There are beautiful brands that do this awesomely, that have like creators dedicated to them, that are not the founders, that people, the audience and community have come to love. So this creative content creator will write the scripts, do everything, do the research and all right? Then we get your filming crew, because you're doing video. So the leanest version of that is a cinematographer. Ideally, we could get a cinematographer that also edits.
Okay.
But if you have the budget, we can split this into another role, right?
Yeah.
So these are the core people that you need. With these people, we can get everything done.
Yeah.
And with these people, we can say that we can churn out content every day.
But we're not looking at the social media managers, because I believed, okay, content creators cover it, all right.
Yeah. That's a beautiful question.
Okay.
Now, our schedule. Are you comfortable with posting once a week with this thing? Or do you think it's too much?
Once a week?
Once a day, sorry.
Once a day. No, I think once a day works perfectly. If planned properly, in some days you could have like, more than one content, but
See
at
you.
the very I mean, that's the dream for every founder. They want to use the smallest cost to like maximize
Achieve the biggest apple, yeah?
Yeah, but
So daily posting is your goal, right?
Yeah.
So now let's create a workflow with it. So there's only one way this is going to work. Batch creation. Batch creation is the only way to, inspiration will not do it, motivation will not do it, right? What does this mean? It means that you want select days to ideate.
Okay.
So let's put this batch creation. It's very important. So I gave it its own paper. Batch creation. So in batch creation, we have different boxes. So batch is a factory line. So we have box 1. We have ideation. Okay. Right? So in this stage, we come about the ideas, what we've just done. We've done it already for you, but hey, you now need to find, so for instance, like the specific video titles, and or you could do an ideation. Now, once we talk about ideation, the next thing we want to talk about is the content categories, right? So so when it comes to writing, it's very easy for you to lump everything together, which we don't want to do, right? So for instance, some people want to write, before you do your videos, you need a script.
Yeah.
And when we say a script, we don't mean reciting everything verbatim. For some types of content, you recite everything verbatim. But for some, you just need structure and all. So a beautiful way to manage this is to divide your script into two, into the pillars, and you flesh out the pillars. This is way, if you want to write a book, that's how you want to go as well. So you get the overarching things, then which are the major points. Then you basically just cascade them into lower points. So for instance, if the book is divided, or this is the video, so the video is divided into three major parts, right? Three big points. One point, you divide it into its own beginning, middle, and end. For the beginning, then you write the words for the beginning, just like that. That's the model. So your script structure, right?
Okay.
So another day for yeah. Okay. So on this day, we can do all the script structure for this. So now, when we say ideation, like what are we actually doing? So we want to create content advance. You don't want to create content when you're posting or even on the week. So if we are creating content daily, I would say a beautiful schedule will be for us to have, how long do you think we should, how long should our backlog be? What do you think?
Backlog of
Content.
ideation.
Of content.
Of
Like,
content,
when should
yeah.
content be ready on ground before we post? So for instance, you could have 2 days worth of content, right? Behind. So if you were posting once a week,
Yeah.
like you could easily say, okay, you could have like 3 weeks in advance, because that's just 3 videos. So if you're posting every day, we want to leave space for things up, because things do happen, right? So how long backlog do you think?
They should have. I think they should have almost like if you're posting every day, right, and we are batch recording, I think they should have like a backlog of at least like a week also in advance. So let's say you're starting out this week, the next week's content is already like we are batch recording for like at the very least 2 weeks. At the very
Okay.
least. So when you're pushing out one, you already have the next one on ground. So by the time you're
Okay.
eating into the second one, you're
So-
batch recording again.
I would say 1 month ideally, but let's just meet in the middle and say 3 weeks ahead.
3 weeks, okay.
So this is very important
Okay.
as well. Why? It means that when we're ideating for 3 times 7,
21.
which is 21 videos. Or we could just put let's put at 21. So it means when we're ideating for not 21 videos. Now, how do we ideate? Ideas are infinite. Just like the sunlight, we'll never run out of it. So if you want to ideate, I would say in the ideation phase, we do "21 videos. Let's do 60 ideas. So on the day that we're doing ideation, we do 60 ideas.
Okay.
On these 60 ideas, we look at it and we say, which one is actually the best of the best? And we can shorten these 60 ideas into 30, right? The ones that we believe in the most. Now, from these 30 ideas, we send these 30 ideas to our trusted circle, which in this case will be our team, because, hey,
Definitely. Yeah.
they are our team. Then And if it's our team that we created all the ideas with, we can send it to people that are outside the team. And we can easily shorten this from 30 into 21. Like, beautiful. Now, when it's time for the script structure, what we do is these 21 videos, we'll create the main points of the videos, with the main points of the script, the introduction, your hook, your hook, your introduction, the middle, which is the point itself, and the conclusion. I write the major points of this. So we'll do that for 21 videos, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we know that we're not writing like the actual words now, just like those pillars. Then the next day, we move into the actual script, right? Flesh out the script.
Okay.
So most times, because we've already done the heavy lifting here, we're writing the words, we can also do this in one day, right? But sometimes you can split to one day, depending on your schedule, right? Now, once we do this, the next thing we move into is the next thing we move into is shooting,
Okay.
right? Now, before we shoot, there's a planning day. So we choose planning. So we need to know what we want to do. So we basically plan. Plan. A good icon for plan. What do videographers call planning? Recce, Abby? What do you call planning? Pre-production. Beautiful. You choose pre-production because of the quality of videos that you'll be doing and the amount. So you need to dedicate a day for pre-production. Now, once you do that, we move into your next box, which will be shooting, shoot day.
Okay.
You might not be able to shoot 21 videos in a day, so you can split this. By the way, all of this, if you decide you can't do it in one day, you can split across the day, but you need to go in this kind of flow, right?
Okay.
So we go into actual creation of the content. And we go into the gears.
Shooting.
Again, we can split this.
Okay.
Now, the next thing we do is editing, right? And editing will be divided into cuts. First edit and final edit. Okay. Now, what's the difference between this? So in your first edit, especially because you're working with a team,
Okay.
in your first edit, what you're trying to do is just get the main structure of your videos that align with the script. In this place, you have done like the first few versions. So probably depending on your editor's workflow, and if it's yourself, you can only know this by doing, experimentation. So if we're going to do that ourselves, we know which one we want to do first. So some people, for instance, they will first cut their videos. They will add the audio, they will clean the audio, right? Some people will color grade in that place before they cut, right? Depending on what you want to do. So in your first edit, you have a rough outline. Then your final edit, you add things like your subtitles, you add any other effect, Foley, and all those other things, everything to make it ready. Then we have the last stage before we are ready to post, which I like to call the meta stage.
Okay.
So in the meta stage is basically all the information related to the video that's not in the video.
Okay.
So we talk about the title of the video. So some people do their titles before they shoot in the script structure. So whatever works for you.
Okay.
The title of the video, the thumbnail of the video. This is YouTube, so you're big on thumbnails. So you go to your Photoshop, you edit the actual images and everything. Once you're done with that, then we go into other specifics, your CTA. So for instance, what campaign are you pushing at that time? What collection is out, right? Then we go into that, basically. So all the things that you need to put out with your videos, that is not the video itself, is covered in this. So you see, we've broken with this, we can put slap days on this and basically churn out content 3 weeks in advance every time.
Yeah.
So you can adjust this based on the scale in which you are creating content for. The higher it is, the more you have to adjust. The lower it is, you adjust as well. Also, this principle is for video, for YouTube. You can take an approach that fits the content form that you're doing. So if it's podcasts, for instance, you already know what to change here. If it's articles, you already know what to move here. If it's live streaming, you know how to move it as well. So basically, it's just creating everything in a way in which it takes out guesswork and you know you have to do it. You also want to lean into your peak times if you're creating solo. So if there are days in which you know that you are more creative, you do it at those points and all, do everything. So if you're very creative, maybe once in 6 months, you can do ideation for 1 year, just like we just did on the board in that period. And you know that you're good. What you're just doing is cutting down and executing and moving on. Now, for people that will be in Project Aegon, at this point, once we do this, we are going to create the ideations together. We're going to do the script structure together, flesh out the script, do the pre-production, do a short day, first edits, final edits, and meter. We're going to do samples of that. But before we do that, we're going to work on the script, the hooks, and the structure of what they need to churn out there to be able to convert likes to leads. This is very specific and all. The founder of Tijo, I've been on this for hours now. We need to take a break.
Right.
However, we want to go into the fine details. So if you want us to create the second part of this video, let us know and we'll come together with Tijo, or maybe somebody else will come and say, oh, they want to use their own content to create. But hey, who knows? I think with Tijo, you want to do YouTube videos, so you can bring your content team with us and we can see something that works. So what we're going to do, so we're going to go to nitty-gritties on how to actually create the content as well, depending on the scope. So if you want a video like that, let me know. So we already we're asking for 2 videos now. An in-depth video on target audience creation. Let us know if you want that. And if you want a video on nitty-gritties on content creation, depending on the scale in which you are doing. So that's it. How do you feel, Mr. Abolari?
Yeah, this is a masterclass, right? This has taken me from not knowing anything about like how to move from now to knowing about my digital presence to making my content blueprints down to my creative direction and then to the ideation and down to content creation flow. It's just amazing. So I feel really good about it. I feel really confident now on how I need to create those structures and how I need to like get going. In short, even the one of the most impactful part is the audience, persona as well, like understanding the audience, understanding before it's just, you think it's just about the audience, but also what you want, right? How then looking at how you can also use that and match it with what the customer wants and create that uniformity is really truly amazing.
I love that. Okay, so if you are still watching the video at this point, you are a real one. You know what you want. You know what you need to do. Execution time. We are going back to the lab to cook and all. Let us know if you want sequels to this. This is our first time literally doing this. I'm seeing that it's not easy to do this whiteboard thing as well. So it's beautiful. For context, by the way, we are filming. What's the time, Jeff?
Oh my goodness. Time is 3:29 a.m.
Why did you raise your voice for that? So we'll be filming for literal hours and all. So it's beautiful just to show you what is possible and to show you that you can actually, there's nothing actually stopping you, and everything that you see, you just need to actually execute it. And I really hope you love to see other parts of this so that we can create more. If you've loved this, the best way to say thank you is share this video with a friend, share with your community, and let every other person enjoy this. Of course, Mofe Ade everywhere. We're crafters as well, the branding agency that does all the magic, my employer. And yeah, mofeade.com/links, you get resources, templates. We'll link all the things that we've mentioned in the description of the video. I was about to say comment section. I'm so used to Instagram and all. And yeah, that's it. Bolanriwa, your first video, how do you feel?
I feel great.
You feel great.
I feel
Well
great.
done.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all the good things. Yeah. See you in the next video. Always remember, success is in the work that you're avoiding. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Well done.
Thank you. Even that one. My eyes want to fall off.
Oh my days, Jeffrey.
Bro, I
Well done.
was fighting.
Viewer, well done.
That's great.
After saying, well done, man.
Thank you.
Okay.